Ever wondered what makes TV so powerful in Jamaica? Time to find out. Welcome to Global TV Group 358, where television meets innovation. We're not just about shows, we're about shaping society. In Jamaica, TV keeps you informed, connects diverse voices, and supports democracy. Imagine a Jamaica where broadcasters unite, sharing data and collaborating globally. That's us, a unified voice in the TV industry. Did you know TV advertising is still king? It drives website traffic, boosts brand equity, and powers integrated campaigns. Even in an age of digital, TV stands strong, resilient in tough times. Our global TV deck is your treasure trove of insights and data. With charts, graphs, and success stories, it's your guide to impactful TV advertising. Curious to learn more? Visit our website and see how Global TV Group 358 keeps television at the heart of entertainment in Jamaica. Get ready to binge watch the future.
Corruption is a vile disease that sucks and drains the health out of something good. Corruption in society is an evil moral infection that keeps community in the state of perpetual sickness. Corruption is a moral virus. It's so potent it leaves its host sick, lethargic, and unable to realize and accomplish all that a well person can. Where corruption thrives, poverty and not prosperity thrives. Wealth is grabbed into the greedy, grubby hands of those who get fat on the toil and labor of good people. Corruption benefits, only temporarily, those who participate in it. Everyone else is a victim of the theft, the deceit, the dishonesty, and the lies that corruption feeds on. You need to know that a corrupt person is stealing from you. Corruption is filthy work and despicable acts of treachery done under the table and behind closed doors. Corruption is a disgusting shame. Corruption keeps a nation back from true development and from progress. Wise investors steer clear of a corrupt environment. They would rather put their resources into a place where the playing field of opportunity is equal for all and not bent towards feeding the financial lust of corrupt, lying, cheating, thieving politicians and government officials. How many wonderful development projects have been lost because the investors didn't want to do business in a swamp of evil? When those great projects go to another nation or to some other place, we all lose. Believe me when I tell you that corruption steals from you, it steals from all of us. Corruption plunders the nation's wealth. Corrupt people compromise on truth, equity, and fairness, choosing instead to feed off the short-term benefits of crookedness, exploitation, and financial perversion. Corruption is not just a personal matter, it's a culture. It's a way of life, not just for individual people, but for companies, communities, governments, and nations. Corrupt nations, hiding behind large companies, will seek to invest in other weak nations in order to take over the assets of the nation that they've invested into. They will provide financial loans to a nation for the much-needed infrastructure, and they will do it with assets that they provide. They will sign contracts by lining the pockets of rotten government officials who participate in this kind of corruption and are then held hostage by their own deceit and greed. Corruption is nothing less than a form of theft and national robbery. A corrupt person steals from everyone in society.
Ghetto, run, keep going on, less process. For children of Israel do really love rights. So just as I and I as a watchman, I run Babylonian walls. Oh, children of Israel, I should never hold thy peace. What wrong is going on? Hey, oh, we gonna bust down Babylon walls. Prepare and read the way. Prepare and read the way for your people. Let's go. Fight down, war and cry. Fight down, me say Rastafari. War and cry and do the righteousness. And we love, and we love Jah. and we love Jah. We love Jah, Jah Rastafari. We love Jah Rastafari. Preserve our people. Put time away again. Listen, yeah. Just as I and I as a watchman around Babylonian walls. Oh, children of Israel, I and I should never hold thy peace while we penalize day or night. We gonna bust down Babylon gates. Prepare the way, prepare the way for Jah Rastafari. Fight down war and crime, fight down war and crime. Rastafari, war and crime, and build up righteousness. And we love Jah, and we love Jah, and we love Jah Rastafari. We love all, and we love Jah. Me love Jah Rastafari. Me love Jah Rastafari. Preserve all. Me love Jah Rastafari. Yeah, the next song is going to be the last song for tonight. And then DJ Twink.
Amidst the Epstein fury, the Cuban crisis worsening with the world paying very little attention to what is happening in the region. Donald Trump has also signaled this might be his time to have a go at Cuba amidst a national blackout. Good morning and welcome to Geopolitiking in the Zone of Peace. This morning, not so peaceful under Donald Trump's presidency, one would argue. We're also this morning going to look at the death of journalism in Jamaica. And yes, we are keeping up with the Cuban crisis and the Jamaica healthcare crisis with the ending of the Cuban health work program. Good morning, everyone, and welcome. Thank you for joining us. To my community of party and all my family members, platform moderators, membership holders, viewers, subscribers, commenters, and trolls, good morning. Welcome, one and all. Thank you all for joining us. This morning, how no do. Sun bright, out of door, sun just have gone with himself. Sun just have gone with himself out of door. None know what I'm here about. But then again, it might not last. It can, but might not last. Debbie Jarvis TV, good morning and welcome. Pamela Akola, good morning. Evan Bradford, Marcia Thomas, Laverne, Lynette Jenkins, Empress Deb, good morning. Evan Miller, good morning. Bros, Leonie Denton, good morning. Errol Reed, Colin, Ladybug, the Unstoppable One, Marcia B. Rowe from the Cockpit Country, good morning. Good morning, everyone. Violet Watson, good morning. Marcia Gale, good morning. Good morning to all the silent listeners. Miss Maxwell, good morning and welcome. Renice Nicholson, good morning. Good morning. We're going to go to the death of journalism in Jamaica. I don't know what to say about them. Raining in Manchester, Jamaica. Oh, it's a brilliant spring sunshine in the UK today. Will it last? I don't know. But it looks absolutely brilliant outside at the moment. So before we go into the Cuban issue, we have some video clips to bring you this morning.
The erosion of the fourth.
We have done an article on the death of mainstream media, or the death of investigative journalism in our country. For me, one of the same. It's a battle. It's a battle between new media and mainstream, what was then mainstream media. But we have noticed more and more that they are losing the narrative war and the information war purely because they're found out to be lying and misleading the public or killing stories of public importance. So let us listen to the article we done on media and democracy in our country and how, in my view, our journalists has gone legs over in bed with our politician, which even hasten the death of social media, of mainstream journalism, particularly in the area of investigative journalism. When was the last time you heard a Jamaica journalist broke a story or expose a politician or a public figure? When last? Can you remind me of a big story that, whether be the papers, radio, or TV, investigate and break? Just remind us, because I cannot remember, and this is what we expect them to do. That is their job, to hold power to account. But whether they now have, in my view, become an associate to power, because in the constitutional framework, I've always argued this. In the constitutional framework, we have been taught about the three branches of government. Lars, how you do? We're taught about the three branches of government: the executive, the judiciary, and the legislature. But I always argue we have not spoken much about the fourth arm, because media is no longer independent or impartial. Media has now become the fourth arm of the Constitution, or they have always been. Opal, how you do? Or one would argue they have always been. Angela Wagwan, my friend, long time, how you do? One would argue they have always been government mouthpiece. They have always been on the side of the state. They are the state propaganda. They are the ones who kill information that should have come to the public in order to protect their favorite politician or their private interest groups or whatever. Derek Blake, morning. London is bustling with good sunshine today. Don't know how long it will last. Let's see how long it stick around. Right. Before we go to Cuba, let's listen to the article we done on media and democracy in our country.
The Erosion of the Fourth Estate, a critical analysis of the breakdown of journalism in Jamaica. The vibrancy of any democracy is inextricably linked to the strength and independence of its media. In Jamaica, a nation that once boasted one of the freest and most robust press landscapes in the Caribbean, the Fourth Estate is currently facing an existential crisis. As we navigate the complexities of 2026, the traditional watchdog role of the Jamaican media is being systematically dismantled by a perfect storm of economic collapse, political intimidation, and a growing, comfortable dependency on the state. The breakdown of journalism in Jamaica is not merely a professional failure, it is a structural decay that has led many to conclude that the media has effectively gone to bed with the government. The economic noose, survival versus sovereignty. The most immediate cause of the media's decline is financial desperation. For decades, legacy media houses like the R.J.R. Gleaner Communications Group and the Jamaica Observer relied on a healthy ecosystem of private sector advertising. However, the global migration of ad revenue to big tech giants like Google and Meta has hit Jamaica with devastating force. By early 2026, reports indicated that major media entities were facing losses in the hundreds of millions of dollars. When a media house is fighting for its literal survival, facing court-approved restructuring and the silencing of radio stations, the luxury of expensive, long-term investigative journalism is the first casualty. Investigative pieces require time, legal vetting, and specialized talent. In a climate of slash-and-burn budgeting, newsrooms have pivoted toward journalism, where press releases are repurposed as news with little to no critical analysis. The state as client trap. As private advertising vanished, the Jamaican government stepped in to fill the vacuum, becoming the single largest advertiser in the country. This has created a dangerous
And we remember everything over nationwide. All of the advertising contract, the majority of them over nationwide.
Conflict of interest. When a news organization depends on government contracts for ministry updates, public service announcements, and sponsored content to pay its staff, its appetite for holding that same government accountable naturally diminishes. Critics argue that the line between news and state propaganda has blurred. We now see advertorials that mimic independent reporting, while talk show hosts and news anchors are increasingly hesitant to bite the hand that feeds them. This financial tethering has turned the media from a watchdog into a pampered pet of the administration, leading to a sanitized news cycle that prioritizes access over accountability. Political intimidation and the chilling effect. Beyond economics, there is a deliberate political effort to delegitimize dissent. Both major political parties, the JLP and the PNP, have been accused of using social media and public platforms to target specific journalists. By labeling investigative reporters as activists or partisan hacks, politicians create a chilling effect where journalists self-censor to avoid being targeted by online mobs or legal threats. The Press Association of Jamaica has frequently sounded the alarm regarding videos and statements from high-ranking officials that endanger journalists. Furthermore, the use of defamation lawfare, threatening massive lawsuits for reporting on public interest matters, has made newsrooms risk-averse. The result is a media landscape that is safe for the government but dangerous for the public's right to know. The death of the investigative tradition. As noted by investigative journalist Kate Chappell, the rare breed of the investigative journalist is nearing extinction in Jamaica. Investigative work is tedious, expensive, and provides no guarantee of a particular outcome. In a country plagued by systemic corruption and FinSAC-era shadows that still loom over modern politics, the absence of deep-dive reporting is a catastrophe. The recent controversies surrounding the Integrity Commission's reports on unexplained wealth highlight this breakdown. Instead of the media leading the charge for transparency, much of the discourse was steered by political spin doctors, with media houses often acting as mere megaphones for whatever narrative the administration or the opposition chose to project that day. A path toward restoration. The breakdown of journalism in Jamaica is a symptom of a maturing democracy that has hit a dangerous plateau. To fix it, journalism must be reimagined as a public good rather than a purely commercial venture. Solutions proposed by industry experts include 1. Independent funding models, creating non-profit entities funded by a mix of state subsidies and international grants, managed by independent bodies like the PAJ to ensure zero political interference. 2. Legislative reform, updating the Access to Information Act to ensure that public interest overrides bureaucratic secrecy, and reforming defamation laws to protect journalists from predatory lawsuits. 3. Media literacy, educating the public to distinguish between state-managed narratives and verified independent reporting. Conclusion. The perception that the Jamaican media has gone to bed with the government is supported by the cold reality of the ledger book. When the state is the primary benefactor, the media becomes a partner rather than a critic. If Jamaica is to maintain its democratic integrity, it must find a way to decouple the survival of the newsroom from the whims of the political directorate. Without a free, funded, and fearless press, the corruption that plagues the nation will continue to grow in the dark, unchallenged and unseen.
Our media house in Jamaica, I'm not sure if they contribute meaningfully to the fight against corruption in our country. Because oftentimes we see important stories of public importance that media hosts do not cover. Or if media hosts cover those stories, it's a government push narrative. Now, this is their big problem with what they call social media. Vloggers and influencers, what I would rather call independent or freelance journalism. But, them have to diminish us to continue to stay on top. But stay on top doing what? Because the people are not informed. The public servants, the corrupt public servants, are not being exposed. It is the same corrupt public servants that are friends of the media that is giving advertising contract to the media. So media in Jamaica become a political tug of war rather than seeking truth within the center of the hustle and bustle between the different political fractions in our country and all the rest of what they use to dumb us down. All of what they use to dumb us down. And this is why every time they get the opportunity, they take a pop shot at social media. We're propagandists, we don't have the authority, we're this, we're that, and it's a constant demonization. But the reality is, even though demonizing those in the social media space, the populace are not gravitating to the traditional media because we've all realized they are just there to support the government and to continue to pull a wool over the people's eye. So that was our take on the death of mainstream media in our country. Now, to Cuba and the unfolding crisis. Today's demonstration, which will get on the way, or walk as they call it, walk of appreciation and gratitude, in my view, it's rather misguided. Not only misguided, but troubling, I find it. And I'll tell you why. Amidst the crisis unfolding in Cuba, it could get worse if Donald Trump decides to carry out his offensive. Whether it will be a Venezuela-style offensive or an Iran-style offensive, one will have to wait and see how they pan out that. There is also, though, a looming crisis in our country when it comes to healthcare. We are all fully aware of the collapsing, degenerated healthcare that we have in our country. Now, the gas guzzling white elephant, what is Cornwall Regional Hospital, is a clear example of the failure, breakdown, and backwardness that our healthcare has become. Suzette Williams, morning. I don't think, given the decision of the government, a decision that protects their relationship with America, their visa with America, their not rocking the boat leadership. I don't think a walk of gratitude is something that is going to express the anger or outrage that we should be feeling when our government can take a decision based on the whims and fancies of Donald Trump and Marco Rubio, not taking into account at all the benefits that we, the people of Jamaica, get from this program. And the crisis to come with this program coming to an end. I don't think a walk of gratitude sends a message to our government. Or is it then that it is not something that alarmed us, outraged us, angered us, when our government could make a decision that is going to have an adverse effect on us without even having a public discussion? Because the public discussion, what all of we out here is having, the government is not involved in it. The government themselves cannot even settle on what the issue is, how they come to the decision to collapse the program. What are the issues why the program collapses? These new stipulations, are they the state of Jamaica's stipulation or the stipulations of the United States? That's what we want to know from the government. But rather, they keep going on about legal complexity here, legal complexity there. And we remember last year, March, Andrew Holness told us that the program was legally compliant. Later on, I think about March, April, Christopher Tufton told us it was also compliant. Kamina Johnson-Simmet last year was speaking about the compliance of Jamaica labor laws. But all of a sudden, a new eye came into the frame this year, and oopsie daisy, there's a confusion as to whether we're compliant or not. It's whether you're listening to Andrew, you're listening to Tufton, or you're listening to Johnson-Simmet, Sharon Powell, how you do, Miranda Rado. It's a confusing story, whichever one you're looking at. What is not clear, though, is what will happen to us. One can say that it's only going to be devastation after devastation, given the health care that we are engaging with already, overburdened health care. And when we lose the specialities, the eye specialities, the neonatal intensive care speciality, why are we not outraged? Why are we not outraged? Because this message of gratitude we are sending, fine, I don't have a problem with it. But is this the message, though, that befits for the crisis unfolding in the region, both in Cuba and what's to come in Jamaica, we're going to go blind. A lot of our babies, our premature babies, are going to die because we lose these specialities which has been in our country for 5 decades. But somebody wake up and realize the program is not compliant. Who and when? We are not being told. Who or when? We are not being told. All we've been told, though, is nothing that makes sense to us or anything that we understand so much, because what is missing from the discussion is the looming crisis. Doing how you do. What is missing from the discussion is the effects, the long-term effect, the short-term effect, the medium-term effect to Jamaicans who benefited from those programs, who know these programs being pushed to the private sector. How much of us is going to be able to something there? What's it call it? Afford such expensive eye surgery? This was the purpose for the program, to help poor people. So when we're choosing our leaders, but me telling you this, me telling you say, and if you don't remember globalists, me telling you why me can't take no side with none of these people. Because regardless of what Labour or PNP tell you on the political campaign, is what America, the IMF and the World Bank say them a go do. Globalists, anybody remember clearly, me telling you this. So it doesn't matter what them promise you upon the campaign. Them script, this is why you see them look so uneducated when them a speak to, whether in a parliament or press conference. Them script come from somewhere else. They are ventriloquists. Somebody's hand is moving in their head. Somebody's hand is moving in their head. Let's listen to Diane Jackson Miller's piece on this. This is from our TVJ. This is not from her YouTube channel, so bear with me. Because I know me prefer deal with what she said on our YouTube channel rather than what she said on the Lion Story them. But just to bring you how the Lion Story media them cover it.
Thank you so much for staying with us. So we're talking today about the ending of the technical health program relationship between Jamaica and Cuba. A big part of that has been the Cuban eye care program. Now, just before we go back to our guest, our producer, Kimon White, went to the St. Joseph's Hospital to talk to patients there. Take a look.
On March 20, the Cuban eye care program in Jamaica will come to an end. This follows the government of Jamaica's announcement that it was unable to reach a consensus with the Cuban government regarding the terms and agreements that govern the broader Cuban medical program. Cuban health professionals have been providing medical support in Jamaica for more than 4 decades.
As you can see behind me, numerous patients have gathered here at the St. Joseph Hospital in Kingston to consult with Cuban eye specialists and receive various procedures. Many have expressed profound gratitude for the program, while others have expressed disappointment at the government's decision to discontinue it.
I met Neslin Chambers, who had arrived for a follow-up appointment. When asked to respond to the discontinuation of the program, Ms. Chambers indicated that she was unaware of the development. Her disappointment was immediately evident.
It's bad. a lot of Jamaican is going to go blind because when I started coming here, the crowd wasn't this big. And then all of a sudden it's like, you come here, hundreds of people.
A few minutes later, similar sentiments expressed by another patient and her daughter.
We're going to continue every year. We just continue every day. Every day, me want it to continue. I got people there. My God, all of we mix behind the hands of God, and God to carry me through. See, they into me eye right now, and me feel so good. You know how me feel good. Me pray, me pray for everybody. Me tell them thanks so till.
Inside the hospital, patients dressed in surgical attire were observed waiting to undergo eye surgery. Outside the facility, first-time patients formed long lines in an effort to consult with the doctors before the program concludes. According to data from the Ministry of Health and Wellness, since the resumption of the eye care program in August 2023, nearly 4,000 eye surgeries had been completed as at October 18, 2024. Thousands of Jamaicans have benefited from cataract surgeries and other procedures. During the same period, more than 21,000 consultations, screenings, pre- and post-operative visits were conducted. At a peak capacity, doctors reportedly see more than 1,000 patients per day and perform approximately 20 surgeries daily. Anthony Martin, who has been transporting individuals to receive treatment at St. Joseph Hospital for several years, says the program has been critical for many Jamaicans. He believes discontinuing the initiative would severely impact individuals who cannot afford private treatment.
It has been very beneficial to a lot of people. So much that over the years I brought a lot of people here. They know me because I brought a lot of people here. Members of JCF, members of family, members of friends, strangers I don't know what problems I've brought them, and their eyes have been taken care of and have been very successful. And I believe right now, to what I heard, it has been cancelled. That is like a death penalty for a lot of Jamaicans.
Health studies indicate that the leading causes of blindness in Jamaica and the Caribbean are eye diseases and conditions that can often be treated if detected early. The three primary causes are cataracts, glaucoma, and uncorrected refractive errors. These conditions impair vision by clouding the eye's lens, damaging the optic nerve, or preventing the eye from properly focusing on the retina. Since the announcement that the program will end, several civil society groups have expressed concern. Meanwhile, the opposition People's National Party has called on the governing Jamaica Labour Party to provide clarity regarding the decision to discontinue the program. Speaking at an emergency press briefing on Monday, Health Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton provided an update on the status of the program in the days leading up to its end.
The Jamaica-Cuba Eye Care program will continue. That's the intention. Its operations will continue by the Cuban team up to the 20th of March. There's an agreement on that. And for the remainder of the program's operations, services will be limited to surgery and post-operative care.
Dr. Tufton also indicated that the ministry has received close to 140 applications from specialist nurses in the diaspora to fill positions that will become vacant following the departure of Cuban healthcare professionals.
You may recall that we had advertised in the diaspora for Jamaicans or others who may want to apply to take up specialist posts in Jamaica. We got 130, just under 140 applications. We have shortlisted those to 70 specialist nurses from the diaspora, but also beyond the diaspora, other countries.
As the time for the Cuban Medical Brigade in Jamaica draws closer to its end, the future of eye care for many is hanging in limbo. Reporting from the St. Joseph Hospital in Kingston, I'm Cameron White.
I don't know about you, but there are two things in life that really gets to me when I meet people and interact with them. Tony, how you do? Who else turn up? Althea, morning. Barbara Simpson, Joan Bailey, how you do? I'm very emotional about blindness and the inability to read. Now, when it comes to the deaf or dumb person, there is a hindrance, but that type of disability still allow you to see what is happening to you if you are deaf and you are dumb. But when you are blind, it's a different challenge to when you're deaf or when you're dumb. On the other hand, people who cannot read, why I feel very emotional about it is because anybody can tell you anything. I remember back in the days, I used to be like a secretary. I used to read and write for a lot of my peers. And even if you were reading something when Augusta, they wouldn't know. And those things really, really bothers me. Denise Hilton, morning. Those things really bothers me. Blindness and the inability to inform yourself. Those two things really rest with me heavy. Does it not bother you that our government has taken a decision which will leave a lot of us blind? Doesn't it bother you? It doesn't make you angry? It does make you outraged? This is the reason why I'm saying, Marcia McLeish, morning. This is the reason why I'm saying the message today of gratitude, I understand, but it is misguided. It should be a walk of anger, or a walk of outrage, or a walk of shame. Because yes, we appreciate what Cuba has done for us. Abena, how you do? Globalists, can you all hit the like button for me, please? When you regularly sit down and just want me to chat and just tired up my jaw corner, so and when you not able to participate by hitting it's just a hit of the like button. That's all. That's all it takes. What's the programmer dude? Is that how I pronounce it? Morning. That's all it takes. Just a hit of the like button. But does it not bother you that not everyone after this program ends will be able to afford an expensive eye surgery? We will be left to the mercy of that horrible relative, that horrible partner, that will probably lead you in a maca or lead you in a tree because you may upset or anger them and they may fed up and tired of you. Whereas Cuba was helping us on this program to maintain with vision in our country, Lena Samuels, morning. But here comes Beverly, morning. Here comes Andrew Holness saying, it is my visa. It is really my cozied up relationship with the Americans. Because what we have to benefit from a friendly deal with the Americans, tourism come from everywhere to come to Jamaica. Yes, the American them, because I don't want to say what they like and where them are come to Jamaica for, but we know where them are come there for. The SSSSC son and all of the other S them, we know that's all them about. Darrett, good morning. Jamaica is a hotspot for tourists globally. So if America tourists stop come to Jamaica, so what? And let me address the tourist issue, which I've always tell you. tourism don't benefit Jamaica. Tourism don't benefit Jamaica. Who benefits from tourism? The multi-conglomerates, the multinational conglomerates are the ones who benefit from tourism. The majority of the tourist dollar does not get to our Jamaican economy because all of the people them far over, so we have booked the expensive flight and hotel fees and all of that inclusive this and that and tour this and say come to Jamaica. Those money remain in foreign. It never touched the Jamaica economy. The bigger part of the tourist bulk, the package and the flight does not get to our Jamaica economy. So cut that crap that we benefit from tourism. That's just a lie where them pull wool over with eye to mash up all other sector of our economy, then turn we in a what Abraham Traore call salon slaves. Because all we do is walk and clean up behind nasty people. That's all. I still serve people when I learn to cook yet. Still I clean up behind people when I learn to bathe yet. That's all. There's no major benefit for Jamaica from tourism. Tourism workers are get minuscule pay. Jamaicans in the tourism sector are not in the top management line. A petty change, PETT, etty change, we get out of tourism. So, when don't make government walk and pull them something there over on the eye. We in the diaspora, we have to send we remittance every day, week, month, and year. If we top, the government feel it more. When COVID come and tourists never come to Jamaica, don't we still send money? Don't we still send money? When COVID and everybody put their tail between their lap and sit down on their sofa in their bed, don't we did still create the barrel and send money to Jamaica when tourists couldn't go there? We never send money. If disaster break out of Jamaica, if war break out of Jamaica and tourists can't go there, we in the diaspora still have a thief from Peter and send go get Paul. So on stop the tourist nonsense, like Jamaica benefit anything out of tourism. It's just upscale slavery. On top the nonsense, like the tourism or anything good. You need to stop talking your garbage. Jamaica people are no longer fools. Get a bin and come pack up the garbage, sir, because see it a litter all over the place. Yeah. So I beg you to get a bin, please, and pile up the garbage in her. If you type and tell us the benefit where Jamaica get out of tourism, sir, that's what you should rather do. Explain the garbage that I'm speaking. Never mind the buzzcocks. Anyway, we're not benefiting nothing from tourism. We're not benefiting anything from tourism. If we industrialize our country, if we reform agriculture in our country, it's going to be more productive than this bullshittery of looking after foreigners. We're not tired to look after foreigners. Them come to Jamaica, we wipe up after them. We come to foreign, we wipe up after them. We're not tired to look after them. Jamaica as an economy isn't benefiting from tourism. Because it look at tourism galangin catch up in a particular part of Jamaica where you don't see the investment. You don't see the investment in tourism for even say, well then, at least the development here. When them people, they build them big hotel, them bring all of them top managers from foreign. Them bring all of them top people from foreign. Are they cleaning, cooking, wash dish, waiter job, bar job, spread bed job, clean toilet job. At them job the Jamaica mainly get in the tourism sector. Them don't get top management or middle management jobs. They are poorly paid. They have horrible working condition. So I don't know what you talk about, sir. You never see when the tourism worker them a protest 2024 and 2025 over pay and condition. So we mustn't support that notion. And to the remittance part, we send more remittance. We have to keep up with anything, Peter, how you do? Anything a go down in a Jamaica, yeah? And tourists can't come to Jamaica. We in the diaspora still have to find money send the same way. And COVID was a prime example that shows us that the tourism link in the economy can break. It's not something sustainable to an economy. It's a prop up, one would argue. But agriculture would be more sustainable. Industrialize our place and bring us back factories will be more sustainable and provide meaningful, long-term, sustainable jobs. Jobs with good pay and jobs with working rights and good working condition, as opposed to the slavery that exists in the tourism sector. Now, when it comes to trade with the Americans, what trade? Yes, they must be so-called biggest trading partner, but whatever the American them a trade we do with, a China they buy it from. A China they buy it from. It's not like when America had monopoly on trade. It not go so anymore. When last you see something say made in America? Catching Heightness, how you do? When last you see something was made in America? So anything America work and trade with people with, America have to wait till China make it. China is the world marketplace. The world has never been in a good position to be disobedient to sanctions because there are roots around sanctions. What are they afraid of, though, is the American military might. Beside them, love for them visa and them ability to fly to Miami and New York and Atlanta and all the other where they want to fly go. It's the fear. The fear that even in front of the eye, Iran had dismantled the fear where the global south has always had of the United States. But all of these countries want to stuck them head up the United States backside. And the United States is having diarrhea as we speak. That's why the whole lot no shit up. JAMAICA 766, all you do. That's why you all are in a mess, especially when countries of the global south can see the range, the depravity, the barbarity of Donald Trump, and you could have sided with such an American regime at the moment. Wayne Evans. There is a thing called staying it out. Donald Trump only have until November or another 2 years after November if they not push him, impeach him, or do the 25th pan him. There's a reason why our government could have stayed this out. Kick it in the long grass. Because Donald Trump not a long boat here and another administration. Donald Trump is the only administration that take this hardball on Cuba. Donald Trump is the The only of all the administration that take this hardball squeeze on Cuba. Donald Trump is not one that is going to be there long term like Xi or Putin.
In terms of
He has to go at the end of his term if they're not moving before. There's a reason why our leader could have stayed this out. Because different US presidents take different route. Sadly, this pedophile is on something. Him saying no drink and he no take drugs. Me no know what we if he not do them to them. High on something. But Andrew Holness could have stayed this out because there's a huge backlash to Jamaicans in this. A lot of Jamaicans is gonna go blind. A lot of our baby in the NICU health care could probably end up meet them fate because the speciality gone. Our government never take a decision that is protecting our economic interests. These are not the days when America can put embargo upon you. China and Russia don't leave India out of it because they're my fifth columnist. China and Russia don't listen to America anymore. If you are willing to buy from China, China is willing to sell. If you are willing to buy from Russia, Russia is willing to sell once you go through the financial arrangement of their BRIC system. It's not like when the America SWIFT system have a control upon the world. BRICS are yank off America and half of the world in relation to that. This was why the sanction never have any effect on Russia. Because Russia never have to sell its oil through the America SWIFT system. So all of these little things where them would the legal compliance we want to talk about Jamaica is bullshit. That's a pull a wool over with eye. We know say this is about the trade war against China. China product are cheap and no good. And I say cheap and no good product the Americans them a buy and a sell on. So what America make were good, sir? What is America making that is good? America make nothing anymore? America is not making anymore. The whole world I use China no good scenting them. The whole world I use China no good scenting them. Maybe you buy the very cheap of China scenting them. China making thing them in a cheap range. The cheap range, the medium range, and the high range. It's not everything they make cheap. Maybe when uno buy the Chinese thing them, uno go for the cheap one them, where one uno use them one time, then done. But me buy a whole heap of Chinese thing, the good one them, and them work. And them everybody buy over here. And them everybody I use. Europe and America now make nothing again. Europe and America I buy from China and I sell back to the world. It's about which one you buy, if you buy the cheap one or the good one. Just like when America did have monopoly pan industry, America make good things, top of the line things, and they make the poor things for the working class and the working poor. Can you imagine wearing China sheep shoes? The world is wearing China sheep shoes. I don't know what you're talking about. Sir, maybe you're just a capitalist with a capitalist agenda. But one of the things when a capitalist must look at, this thing has not developed poor people. This thing called capitalism only create what is called super rich, and the rest of us become slaves to them. It is why in Iraq, why communism works. It is in Iraq, in Iran, no matter what you hear them say. In Cuba, no matter what you hear them say. The literacy rate is 90 to 95%. Same thing in China as well. Because those systems, rather than the Americans, the capitalist system was say, if you can work and achieve it, fuck you. No, the capitalist system, the communist system said, let's work and build a pool and share the wealth. In one of my previous jobs, I have a lot of dealing with Chinese students. And when China send his student them abroad, China give them a state credit card with all the how much every year they in this country for. Them pay them student loan, accommodation loan, and carry them expense. That's the benefit of communism, where you can use the wealth and educate your population. Look at us. Look at us. We aligned ourselves with the big democracies, the United States of A, and the United Kingdom. These so-called creators of English, though they cannot even still speak it or write it properly, one would argue. And look at our literacy rate. We are falling. We are falling. We are falling and falling and falling. Look at Cuba. Look at the debacle Cuba is in. But Cuba not a dunce like we. So I don't know what I'm going about with China. Everybody I use China same thing them. Want to know America what can make? The only thing America make is bomb to kill babies and women. And we see it right now in front of our eye. And that's what them preparing to come at Cuba condo. But listen, Liad Andrew, in March last year, when he was stand and look on his face, under pressure, soup, pressure. There's a difference to walk and skin out your body for power, and a difference to stand up in your pride and demand power. Andrew Oldness, them a bow down and skin out them body for power. Unlike Michael Manley, who stand up and demand it and prepare to die on it. If it is that we are going to continue to elect leaders that make decisions in the interest of a barbaric system called America, what's the fucking point of us continue to vote in? We might as well become the 51 divided state of the pedophile hegemon. It is angering. And this is why the message today should be an outrage, a shame, or an anger of a decision taken that will have adverse effect on our health in our country.
In terms of Cuban doctors in Jamaica, let us be clear. The Cuban doctors in Jamaica have been incredibly helpful to us. Jamaica has a deficit in health personnel, primarily because many of our health personnel have migrated to other countries. We are, however, very careful not to exploit the Cuban doctors who are here. We ensure that they are treated within our labor laws and benefit like any other worker. So any characterization of the program by others certainly would not be applicable to Jamaica. We are ensuring that our program complies with all the international laws and standards to which we are a party to.
We don't know what that means, literally. We don't know what that means. And if we listen to Kamina Johnson-Smith, we become more confused. If we listen to Christopher Tufton, we become even more confused. That never mind Christopher Tufton turn up and say, here's a bench. Here's a bench. Sit and talk to the bench. Tell the bench your problem. And the bench will provide you a solution. If we are not going crazy, if we're not going crazy, then something wrong. Now, this information, this video was done in, I think,
Donald Trump, you have let the entire American public down. because you are a Bubba blowing, Katie Johnson raping, E. Jean Carroll raping, genital grabbing, porn star wife cheating, teenage dressing room peeping, Ghislaine Maxwell helping, Obamacare ending, ICE Gestapo wielding, Venezuelan warmongering, SNAP benefits denying, George Santos pardoning, pathological lying, disability mocking, childish name calling, immigrant hating, bone spurs draft dodging, East Wing destroying, Putin boot licking, pro-fascist, Fox News lackey hiring, city army invading, crypto billionaire pardoning, Biden blaming, pardon selling, climate change denying, election denying, January 6th inciting, justice undermining, school lunch hating, classified documents stealing, crypto coins scamming, conspiracy theory spreading, grocery prices raising, farmer bankrupting, inflation raising, criminal friends pardoning, healthcare concept of a plan, corrupt, convicted felon. You are an international disgrace that should never have been allowed to be our leader.
I never that meant to be played, but it was in the studio. Now, this is a video on Cuba. This was done in mid-February, but it's very important that we listen to this piece of information because Donald Trump must stop the war in Cuba. Don't know, as I did an
America has tried to get rid of Cuba.
As I did an article on this the other day, questioning whether the Americans, given what's unfolding in the Middle East, can fight a war on two fronts at the moment. Because the Cuban issue, Marcia Thomas, how are you, the Vernon Adams? The Cuban issue will, in my guesstimation, will not go down like the Venezuela issue. The Cubans really hate the Americans. And they are not going to go down without a fight. If you look back at the history of the Bay of Pigs, my problem is though, where is Russia and China in all this? Where are the African countries in all this that we have watched Cuba on the front line in anti-apartheid and anti-colonization? Where are these African countries? We don't even hear from them. Not a word. As that lady did say, not a bomb in Gilead. Now let's go to this information on Cuba, and then we'll come back on the other side. This is quite a mouthful of information, but I think rather is important.
America has tried to get rid of Cuba unsuccessfully for a very, very long time. But the reason why we're talking about it now, Anushka, is that Cuba is on its own the way that it has never been on its own. And if there's any chance to bring this government down, this is the moment. And I think that's the calculation in the White House.
Hello and welcome to Trump World. I'm Anushka Astana in Washington, D.C.
And I'm Matt Fry in London. Today we're going to discuss the crisis in Cuba. No food, no fuel, no tourists. Donald Trump has his foot on Cuba's neck.
And Matt, I think it is fair to say that you are a little obsessed with Cuba, aren't you? Why?
I am indeed. I think I'm not going to hide it. That's because when I lived in the United States between 2002 and 2013, I went to Cuba quite a lot and always for work, but always managed to add on.
This is one of our British journalist, Matt Fry. I think Matt Fry was from Sky News, I believe.
A little bit of pleasure. But the point is that I saw that Cuba, probably at its best, apart from the kind of heyday of the Cold War when it was fully funded by the Soviet Union, and it really mattered in terms of geopolitics, the famous Cuban Missile Crisis of 1962. But when I was there, the country was beginning to open up a little bit. And you had these extraordinary restaurants that suddenly popped up in people's, literally in their houses. You want to have a meal? go upstairs, take the second door on the right, past the bathroom, don't mind Granny sitting in the television room. And there was then this pop-up restaurant, and you could have a decent meal. And you sort of saw micro-capitalism in Cuba flex its wings a little bit. And of course, Cuba has been through various ructions of opening up and closing down, of America acting as a predator or not, over the decades, really. And at that particular moment, it was the end of the Bush era, Bush Jr., who was, not particularly open towards Cuba, but wasn't shutting things down either. And then Obama came in, and Obama really tried to kill the Cuban regime with kindness, thinking that if you open up Cuba to tourism, you allow lots of Americans to go there, you allow some Cubans to come to America, then they will suddenly realize on the island of Cuba, oh my God, there's a thing called the internet, or you can order really good food online, and there's another life out there that we have not yet experienced in Cuba. And they would then put pressure on the regime, and then eventually the regime would be killed with kindness. Well, that didn't really happen. And of course, after Obama left office, Trump came in, and Trump was tough on Cuba. He ended the direct flights, the openness of tourism, et cetera, and then Cuba found itself in a dark phase. But the reason why we're talking about it now, Anushka, is that it is in the darkest phase it's arguably ever been in its 65 years since the Fidel Castro revolution. And that's because just in the last 6 weeks, Cuba has lost its biggest ally and supporter and friend and provider of much of its oil. And that is, of course, Venezuela. So Venezuela is no longer sending Cuba, from that short distance of Venezuela to the island of Cuba. Mexico has also stopped its imports of oil to Cuba. And therefore, you have a fuel crisis in Cuba where they only produce 40% of the oil that they need domestically. That means that, banks can't open, ATM machines don't work if you have any money in them at all. Restaurants are shutting down. Hospitals have had to pool their resources. There are power outages in some parts of the island of almost 24 hours a day. Tourism, which was the main...
Let me ask the wider world this. Why don't you all, as humanitarians, supply Cuba with solar panels? Why not? China. China.
Income, especially of foreign currency for Cuba, has effectively stopped because hotels are having to shut down. Flights that flew from Canada, which is a big source of tourism, or from Russia, or from China for that matter, can't refuel when they get to Havana. Therefore, there are no long-haul flights anymore. So the whole place is shut down. And the question, I wonder what you're hearing on the ground in Washington, is to what extent is this, regime change by slow bleed, Trump with his foot very much on Cuba's neck, after Venezuela?
I think January the 3rd, when they took the action that they took in Venezuela, it was right then, at that time, with Cuba in mind. I think Marco Rubio, Secretary of State, said almost on day one that if I was a minister in Cuba right now, I'd been worried. And when we were trying to understand how it affects Cuba...
Eugene said a lot of Cubans voted for Trump. Eugene, morning, how you do? Don't watch those Cubans. Those Cubans are what we would describe as labor rights. The Cubans, them in America, especially the ones across Florida, those are what we would describe as the labor rights or the capitalists. Don't watch them. They have never liked the Castro regime or family.
The kind of aim of it appeared to be, what you're describing that has unfolded, that this idea of blocking the oil would slowly cause a humanitarian crisis in Cuba that would in turn result in a change in regime. It feels like a pretty horrific way to try to bring around what you're talking about when, as you said, the situation right now is really dire. There is rubbish building up on the streets. As you say, the planes aren't going. The entire power grid is teetering right now. And actually, we've heard from the UN on all of this. And what they describe is pretty awful. Have a listen to what the UN's Marta Hurtado has said about Cuba.
In Cuba, there's food baskets, a system of rations. These rations have been already gutted, but it does not fuel to put in the trucks to be able to distribute food. People might not get food, might not be able to eat. So there's no drinkable water, there's no food, there's no medicines. So the whole system of protecting the population, protecting their rights to food, to health, to water, it's dismantled.
I mean, I've been to Cuba in the past when the shelves have been, very thinly stocked, but now we've got empty shelves. And, the most basic supplies of food, let alone power, which we discussed earlier, have just gone. And it is really hard to see how this regime can survive for much longer without doing a deal with America. And we'll talk to John Lee Anderson, the veteran New Yorker correspondent who really knows Cuba very well indeed, has got great contacts with the Cuban leadership, what kind of deal they are prepared to engage in that doesn't involve, political suicide for them. And that's a big question. But I think it's also important for us, Anushka, to dwell on the importance of Marco Rubio in all this, the Secretary of State, the National Security Advisor. Little Marco, as Trump used to call him disparagingly, has had his big moment with Cuba, partly because of his heritage. His parents came over from Cuba before the revolution of 1959. And then he set up with his family in southern Florida, which is, really kind of, obviously a little Havana in Miami, but it feels very Cuban. There are hundreds of thousands of Cubans, exiled Cubans in southern Florida. They have an enormous importance on Florida politics. Florida used to be a key swing state, so all this matters. And Marco Rubio thinks in the second Trump administration that, and Trump tried stuff with Cuba in the first administration, but he wasn't really focused. In the second Trump administration, because he is Secretary of State and the National Security Advisor, and obviously at the moment in Trump's good books, he thinks that this is his moment. And I think even when they were planning the Venezuela operation, they always had Cuba in the back of their minds. Those two always came in tandem. And let's see how that pans out.
Yeah, it's worth saying that this is a kind of lifetime ambition for Marco Rubio, as you say, Cuban-American, although his parents did come a couple of years before the revolution.
As you mentioned, they did not like Castro.
They did not like Castro, and he has always framed himself as the son of exiles, even when it emerged actually from reporting that they'd come before the revolution. He said still they saw their identity as being part of the exile community. And he's actually written about it in the book he published in 2012 about his life. He's talked about sitting at the feet of his grandfather. And there was one bit in it where he actually said, I used to boast that one day I would lead an army of exiles back and become president of a free Cuba, which is quite prophetic in a way in terms of what he's now doing and what is now his ambition in terms of Cuba and regime change in Cuba. He didn't write about Venezuela at the time, but later it became a really big push for him as well. And I actually remember seeing him in Congress after the Venezuela operation had happened, after he'd been briefing representatives in Congress about Venezuela, and very clear, as you say, from that time that Cuba for him is the ultimate aim. And it's just worth saying that today reporting started from Axios, who are very good at getting the inside track on all of this, have said that he's having secret talks, not so secret now because the State Department have confirmed them, but secret talks with Raul Castro's grandson, who is seen as the apple of his grandfather.
Ladybug. About 2 weeks ago, Kamina Johnson Smith said they have a WhatsApp number to then communicate with, and them to keep close contact with them parents, and them parents look at the developing situation and make their decision. But I better send both go for them. Anyway, we make a fuel a plane, send go pick them up and come back when I need refueling. But Kamina Johnson did turn it over to the student and them parents. You hear me? I tell you, me do one program on it about 2 weeks ago. Kamina Johnson Smith turn it over to the picnic them and them parents. When our parents talk it out and work it out, said Johnson Smith.
Father's eye, Raulito,
Little
Raulito,
Raul, yes.
Little Raul, they call him, used to work as a security guard for Raul Castro, and now a very important figure. But really important, isn't it? Because what it means is that Marco Rubio is not talking to the official government at the moment. He's talking a bit like they did in Venezuela to the people who they see as the power brokers. And some people are arguing that in the same way as they left the vice president in charge, Delcy Rodriguez, in Venezuela, that they are looking for a Delcy in Cuba. Do you think that's the way it's more likely to go rather than an operation like we've seen in Venezuela?
I don't think there's an obvious Delcy in Cuba. That's certainly what I'm being told by people who know the place better than I do at the moment. There's no obvious place. There's no obvious Delcy to take over from the president should he be removed. Also, you're dealing with a country that is much more unified in its opposition to America. I mean, even if they hate the regime, they don't, Cuba's had been steeped in nationalism and patriotism and anti-Americanism from the very beginning.
Leave the anti-Americanism out of it. This is what Jamaica is short of. Nationalism and patriotism. What we have rather been transferred to is political tribalism. One of the ism, but not the right ism, isn't it?
Which is not the case with Venezuela. And in a sense, the idea of where it belongs in that hemisphere, the idea of its opposition to, this great big giant next door, is much more part of the Cuban DNA than anything else. Because first of all, they don't have any natural resources. There's really very little oil or anything like that in Cuba. The resources they had were their military expertise. And remember that 32 Cuban bodyguards around Nicolas Maduro, the Venezuelan president, were killed during that extraction. The other expertise
were killed by the Venezuelans who sold out to Maduro because the Cubans would have put up a resistance that would have tamed the United States or inflict blows on the United States. So the same one them will sell out Maduro, make sure them execute the Cuban guards them where they protect Maduro. It's nasty world.
And the other big export were Cuban doctors. They have an excellent health system, and they used to basically send doctors in return for Venezuelan oil. Well, that's gone as well.
Jamaica, have you heard that? Cuba has an excellent, not an okay health system, an excellent, considering 7 decades of American embargo, an excellent, excellent health care, top of the range literacy. I wonder if we shouldn't have gone communism and maybe government couldn't fool with just so.
That's the end of that income, but also in terms of the status of the island, its own self-esteem. We may be small, we may be.
Imagine the brilliance of Jamaica and the brilliance of Cuba could really cooperate well within the region. You understand what the region could achieve education-wise, how we could broaden with horizons in faculties and specialities. Don't you all see that the Americans is stifling the region? Can you not see that we will not be successful or improve under an American IMF and World Bank loan that keeps us in perpetual DEATE debt?
In the shadow of Uncle Sam, but we have military prowess, we have a fantastic health service, and we're highly educated. All that's beginning to disappear and is endangered by this embargo. So there's not that much left, and I think that makes it much. The nightmare, I think, for the administration, which is certainly what I've heard from people close to it, is that if you allow Cuba to collapse, which is a real possibility, you're going to end up with a massive flood of Cuban refugees, migrants heading across the straits to Key West, which is literally 6 hours away by boat, or to Miami itself, which is a little bit further. And that would be, counterproductive, to say the least, for Donald Trump, who's trying to do the opposite with migrants, is hoping that many of the Cubans living in Florida might eventually.
No, we're calling on Kamina Johnson-Smith to give us clarity on this matter. The last time I remember her telling us of that WhatsApp group where they might communicate with them and she told us about the amount of students on the Jamaica government program and the rest of them who are independent students, but it would amount to about 300 and odd our students them in a Cuba study, both those who are on the Cuba Jamaica Health Program and those who are doing their independent studies. We're calling on the government of Jamaica this morning to give us swift clarity on whether those students have been repatriated back home. If not with the worsening of the crisis, why not? If it is logistic problem, I'm being told that Cayman Airways is flying to Cuba twice per week. What are the arrangements, Ms. Johnson-Smith, that the Jamaican government is making, and how far are you in that planning to repatriate our students? The situation doesn't seem in the short term to have any solution. We also have a pending war to come in the region. Can Ms. Johnson-Smith clarify for us, what is happening to our students in Cuba? I think the government should tell us that. Let's finish listening to the bits of this that were left.
They go back to Cuba. So, I think they're very cautious about what they do, but I think Marco Rubio especially is driving this effort to bleed the regime dry with a combination of, an oil embargo and some gunship diplomacy, and also frightening people in the region not to do.
Hold on, let me answer Leon McIntyre question. Can Jamaica manage 1 month of sanction? Jamaica does not prepare for no hardship. Well, this is what we might actually need, Leon, for toughen way up, because we have become these ready-made, come in a package people where we think to say life must be just put on the table by the Americans them for we. Rain or morning, Caribbean Airlines, I think it's called, it flies out of Jamaica to Cuba. So the government can make preparation. The logistics is there. Master, how you do? Monica, rather, how you do? The logistics is there. So the government need to inform us today, as a matter of urgency, what is happening to our students and what are the plans to repatriate them if they have not done so yet. Maybe I answer who for question. Hold on. Now, what we might need sanction for toughen way up, because we might need something to push we back towards the importance of agriculture in our country. Rather than the digging an aisle where going to cause earthquake in our country, we need something to push we back into the grow what you eat and eat what you grow. And maybe the health crisis in America, GM food, we will get rid of some of them. So maybe we need a sanction where for sure Jamaica say, life is not ready-made. Rome never built in a one day. The slave them fight on the plantation for over 300 years, been killed, been raped, been tied up with mother them baby, tied to tree with baby cutting out of them rape with them, kill with them light with them, burn with them, tie horse to and light and tar when light where fat. It never build in a day. That already make life here where we gone in. We need to go back to struggle because struggle is what makes people become powerful. And looking how Iran has shown it today, says struggle can make a country become powerful. Look at Cuba. All of we will align ourselves to the West. We're backwards in education. We lack a development. Cuba, where the whole of the West had a neck pan, foot pan Cuba neck. Cuba turn out better than we educational wise. So we need to drop the Western bullshit. It don't work.
Business with Cuba, and it leaves Cuba, this slither of land in the Caribbean Sea, completely isolated in a way that actually very few countries probably have been as a result of the actions that America's taking. Well, let's hear from the man himself, Donald Trump. He was asked about Cuba on Air Force One.
Cuba is right now a failed nation, and they don't even have jet fuel to get for airplanes to take off. They're clogging up their runway. But we're talking to Cuba right now, and Marco Rubio talking to Cuba right now, and they should absolutely make a deal because it's really a humanitarian threat. And we have a lot of great Cuban Americans, and they're going to be very happy when they're going to be able to go back and say hello to their relatives and do things that they should have been allowed to do for a long time. I'm very interested in the people that are here that were treated so badly by Castro and the Cuban authorities. They have been treated horribly. So we'll see how it all turns out. But Cuba and us, we are talking. In the meantime, there's an embargo. There's no oil. There's no money. There's no anything.
If a deal isn't made, would you consider an operation like the one in Venezuela?
I don't want to answer that. Why would I answer that? If I was, it wouldn't be a very tough operation, as you can figure. But I don't think that'll be necessary.
Right, we can stop it thus far.
You know what?
Why did I bring you that piece of information? War in our world, as we've noticed of the unfolding in the Middle East, have become the whim and fancies, the dreams of people. It's not that there's a security issue. There's a humanitarian crisis or catastrophe. Inadvertently, these wars create the humanitarian crisis, security crisis, and catastrophe. But when war in our world to kill people is based on a dream Netanyahu have for 40 years, a dream Marco Rubio has in his parents, you understand we live in a fucked up world where we can't stay silent. It's only a matter of time before we get to your door. You know? It is coming. Don't bother think say now come. You understand? Don't bother think to say your door no have a number upon it and destruction no know how to read number. So it's coming to your door. So your silence and shut mouth and turn a blind eye and the defiant society where we live in. What about when it get to you and everybody turn away from you? The entire region is silent to Cuba. The entire world is silent to Cuba. All of the countries in Africa and the Caribbean that Cuba has supported over the decades, they are all silent. These anti-colonized, anti-apartheid countries across Africa and the Caribbean, silence. Cuba supplied them with arms. Cuba supplied them with relief. Cuba supplied them with soldiers. Cuba supplied them with teachers. Cuba supplied them with Dr. Drunkro. Oh, no shame. Anyway, go on about your business this morning. Carlos. Wagwan. Oh, no shame, Drunkro. Let's see what we can count up what Cuba contribute to the whole. Look on the silence. Cuba provided them soldier and weapon to fight for no freedom. Cuba provide no teacher for teach, you know. And all when you know learn, you still turn around and provide doctors for look at no speciality we only align on ourselves with the big foreign country them can get them speciality there. All of our twinkling with the Epstein class, we can't get the development we want from them. But Cuba can manage to develop it. And I have these people every day a bullshit about communism and socialism. Capitalism and democracy do not work. It is a rich white people's club. You have to have color and money if you go in at that club then. You understand? Color and money to get into that club. Or in turn, if you want to turn around and rape children, you may be accepted in the club. If you want to rape, eat, and murder children, they'll sort of accept you in the club. But this whole capitalism and democracy club is not the all are we galang in. There is proof said this system work in China, it work in Iran, it work in Cuba. The people benefited from that system. What have we benefited from this bullshit of capitalism and democracy? Work and pay tax, and we just dead and achieved. Go on, yeah? Go on. With no capitalism and barbarism. So to you, the people of Jamaica today, walking in appreciation and gratitude. I'd rather say shame on you this morning for that message you'll be sending. You should be sending a message to the Jamaican government this morning of shame, outrage, anger, cruelty, and corruption. Tell Andrew Holness to pull up in pants. Stand up and pull up your pants, Prime Minister. Stand up, Andrew Holness, and pull your pants up. One man behind the other, behind you, just the other. So, I take orders from here, there, and everywhere. Why you never go foreign go lobby people for vote for you? But this is what we get. So I'm telling the Jamaica people, stop prostitute on yourself. See that? We're not selling on yourself now. And look there. Look there. We're not go blind. We're not baby, them go dead. We're go dead off. We're go dead off, you know. Vote for Labour. Vote for Labour. Me and my neighbor voting for Labour. Vote for Labour Party. It's a pretty little party. Me and me Georgie, I vote for Labour Party. See a brighter future. Where there? You now go see it. You now go see the brighter future. Because by the time it turn up, if it does, you will be blind. Because you now go add the money. You now go add the money. They go do an expense. Me would even tell them about the like button this one. Because if me go for start on a globalist, like how you see the Jamaica government and the Jamaica people and Donald Trump and Marco Rubio anger me this morning. Don't make me even start on about the like button this morning. You understand? But when we sell cheap and short for KFC, see what we get here? See what we get? Death and destruction. How when the war and the refugee crisis start over the Caribbean, the zone of peace would be rather turned upside down shortly. Because in the first coming of Donald Trump, one could argue Donald Trump just say things to get the media attention. The second coming of Donald Trump is not like that. Donald Trump, Rhino shit him out and him act like a shit. Everything in Donald Trump's second term is a shit show. A part of the shit show I support in the collapse of the American empire, but drunkard, pedophile, murderer, Eugene Carroll, raper, child eater, you take it too far now. You take it too far. Which one I know they behind Andrew? You, Marco, or exit the hag shit? Which one I know? But somebody is behind our Prime Minister with his pants down at his knees. Bend over, Prime Minister, bend over. Our government took a decision, took America $6.7 billion, and then draw down in pants and say, me alone now get fuck ya so. The entire Jamaica take it with me. You know, go on here, people. Me go to do in the cold sunshine, you hear? Me can go to do in the cold sunshine because it is depressing. And I don't think we're angry or outraged enough of what we claim to be democratic elections in our country to elect ventriloquists for somebody else to have them hand in them head a flap and a fool. Me ain't telling no. Me ain't telling no, so regardless of what them telling no Labour right or PNP pan election campaign, our America Foreign Office, IMF and World Bank say that run the show. But when me teach on geopolitics, you don't want to understand it. Me always tell you about the IMF managerial system that operates in our country. With Prime Minister to make a decision. Sometimes I'm sorry for Andrew Holness because him just a try to pull a wool over with eye for sure we say him have, but not go so. This is why them look so confused when them read off of the script them. They're coming from the Foreign Office, the IMF, the World Bank, the World Health Organization. People no go on this morning. Anyway, peeps, thank you all very much for being here this morning. If you have not yet hit the like button, please do so. If you have not yet become a subscriber to Global TV, what are you waiting for? As well as you can also become a paid member of Global TV for as little as, I believe, £3. So thank you very much. Young DT Wagwan, Winifred, how no do? Why you think PNP is so silenced? Because all of them get a pay. Now, I had this conversation the other day. The PNP are silenced because they would have done the very same. Or the best the PNP would have done is kicked it in the long grass until Donald Trump comes out of power. But I don't see the PNP have the Michael Manley spirit to stick two fingers up to the Americans and say, if you want to anger your bloody self, you orange juked looking fools, then go along and anger yourself. But as for us, it is about our world alliance and global citizen partnership. I don't think the PNP have such testicular fortitude left in them. They barely have the time to speak. Anyway, go on before the PNP them start attack you. But a coin have two sides, a bird have two wings, a body have 2 foot, a body have 2 hands. It's the same thing. JLP, PNP, same thing. That's why we call them the uni party. You can barely identify their policies different from each other. It's only the noise. The difference in their policy is the noise. That's all. The difference in PNP and JLP policy is the noise. Barring that, I can barely identify it. Anyway, thank you. Good morning and good afternoon.
Too long in our little ghetto, run keep going on, let's process. For children of Israel do really love rights. So that's why I as a watching man around Babylonian walls. Oh, children of Israel, I see never hold thy peace. What wrong is going on? Day or night. We gonna bust down Babylon walls. Prepare and read the way. Prepare and read the way for jumping. Let's go. Fight down war crime. Fight down war and crime. Rastafari. War and crime. And do that righteousness. And we love. And we love Jaja. And we love Jaja. Rastafari. And we love Jaja. We love Jaja. We love Jaja. Rastafari. Preserve all people. Put time away again. Listen, yeah. Just as I and I as the watchman, I run Babylonian walls. Oh, children of Israel, I should never hold thy peace, while we are penalized. Day or night, we gonna bust down Babylon gates. Prepare and read the way. Prepare and read the way for Rastafari. Fight down war and crime. Fight down war and crime. Rastafari. War and crime. And build up righteousness. And we love Jah. And we love Jah. And we love Jah. Rastafari. Preserve all. And we love Jah. Me love Jaja. Me love Jaja. Rastafari. Preserve all. Me love Jaja. Rastafari. Yeah, the next song is going to be the last song for tonight. And then DJ Twink.
If you don't like missing out on the latest shows but still enjoy classic hits, then Global TV Group 358 is your perfect match. Global TV Group 358 isn't just another channel, it's your ultimate TV experience. From breaking news to binge-worthy dramas and timeless classics, we've got it all. Our unique blend of original content and global favorites means there's something for everyone. And guess what? With GTVG's seamless streaming, you can watch anywhere, anytime. Plus, our interactive features let you be part of the action. So, whether you're a seasoned binge watcher or a casual viewer, Global TV Group 358 is here to keep you entertained day and night. Don't just watch TV, experience it with Global TV Group 358. Subscribe now and never miss a moment.